off we went to London on British Airways. That was great. The food was really good. It seemed like it was just long enough, you know, just a chance to sit back and let it soak in.
We almost got hit by cars several times because we had to look right and left and up and down because we didn't know.
That's how you can tell
a tourist in London.
I love Paris. If I could go back anywhere that we went on that honeymoon, I would choose Paris above all.
It was our first time together somewhere where we had to switch our languages all the time. We had to go from English to French to Italian and then eventually to Greek. I think the minute you crossed over any of those borders, everyone was different. You went to London, they had just been humbled with the bombings. And in France, it's about class, and it's about, you know, a certain kind of aura.
We sat down one morning at about, 8 a.m., 8:30. We got up early because this was Paris and we knew we had 2 days. We walked up the street, sat down at this little cafe, and the sun was coming up over the Arc de Triomphe, and there was hardly any traffic out, and this guy comes out and he didn't speak any English, but I had my French phrase book with me and I did just fine ordering us some croissants and a couple of wicked coffees. Wow, the coffee over there really is something else. If you like espresso, go to Paris and have one. By the time that coffee, that breakfast was over, we didn't really care that we just paid how much per croissant.
I think it was $5 per croissant. We didn't know that, so we ate 4 of them.
It didn't matter.
John had booked this reservation at this hotel.
Ernest Hemingway used to go there.
Used to go there.
Venice.
So we decided we were going to go to Harry's Bar, and he had booked it about 2 months before the reservation. So we headed over there, and we walked in there not knowing what we were going to walk into. And as we sat there, the waiter had his gloves on. They served us these beautiful croissants, all this kind of stuff, and pushed our chairs in. Asked us what we wanted to drink, and we said, well, it was good. And they said, well, we're known for our Bellinis. And so they brought on these beautiful little Bellinis that don't look like the Bellinis we get at Cactus Club or Milestone. Yeah, they're just short. And he brought us the menu. So the menu looked like this Tiffany box, colored menu. And we both open it, and we're reading it. And I'm just looking down the menu, and I'm not saying anything to John. Normally, I respond to John. And oh, this looks good. I'm like silent, and so is he. And I finally look over at him, and I'm like, it was 99 euros for the meal of the day, and the hamburgers were 60 euros. Now, translation, 99 euros is $150. So John,
we were feeding ourselves for a week on what we would have had to have spent on dinner that night.
Anyways, the funny story is, so John goes, he goes, I think this is beyond what we can spend, or beyond our means. And the guy goes, sorry? And he goes, I think it's too expensive. And the guy goes, well, this is Harry's Bar. And John's like, So anyways, needless to say, he brought the bill, but he made us stew for about 30 minutes before he brought the bill to us. In Rome, there's just a basic charge that when you put your luggage in the trunk of a taxi, it's €1. And that's standard law, right? So Rome was great, so we knew this, and this is how it ran. We got out of the train, and then we saw this taxi driver, and we said, can you take
what a trip. The Eurostar, amazing. This train banks around corners. It's great. You're doing like 180 kilometers an hour through the Italian countryside. Olive groves and just this wild country, and this thing's ripping along, and it's banking. A train, okay? It's like going like this. That was great. I love that train.
You got really excited. I couldn't care less.
Taxi driver.
So we got a taxi driver. We found one, and we asked him how much it would be to get to the ferry. We assumed 20 euros is quite a bit. So we thought we were going to be driving quite a bit. Well, the guy took us literally 5 minutes away from where we were. So we looked at his meter, and it was €5. So John gets out of the car, and the guy goes, 20 euros.
When I said to the guy, 20 euros, your meter only says this much. He said, luggage. I said, luggage? Luggage is only a euro where we just came from in Rome. He's like, puts his hands to his stomach, pushes them in, and exhales. What's this guy doing? He starts looking around. He's looking for his friends or something. Like, I better pay this guy. I open up my Italian phrase book and there's some body language definitions, and there it is. I find exactly what he just did to me. He's holding his hands to his stomach and he's exhaling. A little caricature in this book. It says, "Why are you busting my balls?"
John couldn't find any shoes anywhere in all of Europe. Remember?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, he was so sad. He wanted to buy a nice pair of European shoes.
Oh, you wanted me to buy it.
No, you wanted a pair of European shoes, and you just are blocking it out of your memory now. Why? Because they didn't have a friggin' size 42 or above.
Apparently we were over there at the end of the fashion season and the only sizes were left were for the Japanese tourists.
So he tried, and then in Greece they actually insulted him for his big feet. Which basically they said they insulted. They said, "I've never seen a foot that large before. I can't believe you found that. Where'd you get that foot from?"
The second we got onto the Greek ferry,
We were home.
we first left Italy on our overnight to Greece, and they welcomed us in Greek, and all we heard was this banter and chatter.
And we understood. So at one point I turned to John and I said, have you noticed that every time, if you listen in on anybody's conversation, everything they talk about is who's related to who and how do you know so-and-so? And we started to get absorbed by that as well. Like we'd go visit his aunt and she and his uncle, and they would be like, so-and-so from the village over there and so-and-so from the village over there got married and so-and-so is now related to them. And it was like that. Young, old, everybody talked like that. They live a very different life than we do.
Everybody's in a hurry to get nowhere.
Yeah. And their attitudes about having fun, and the less we work, the happier we are. But we need to work because we've got to, pay the bills and we got to do things. But they seem to just get life a little bit better than we do. They seem to just chill and philosophize and debate, and they swim every day, and they have their coffees at lunch and in the breakfast, and they sleep in the afternoon, and they get up and they stay up till all hours of the night, and that's young and old. It's a very different life than here. I met John's family his mom only has one sister out there, and we went to a little fishing town called Pylos, and I met his mom his aunt and his uncle, his uncle's very fond of John, because he remembered John as a 3-year-old kind of running on his tractor on the farm. And he made John go back on the tractor, and we took pictures of John on the tractor.
They made me ask.
Oh, okay, you asked to go on the tractor.
I made him take a video.
There you go.
I didn't go so far as to, strip down to my underwear and
The way he was when he was 3. So then we rented a car and we drove down to where my family's from, and that's Kalamata, which is the southern part of Greece. And John fell in love with that city because it was it's a seaside town. It's a resort town.
It's miles and miles of beaches. It's great.
And I had great cousins there, and they were willing to take us out all the time. So one day trip ended up being a 3-day stay over. And then we headed back to Pylos, and then we went to Athens, and I fell in love with Athens because we had dinner just outside of the Acropolis, and just
on a place tourists
don't know
about. Only the locals know about this place. The whole place is on a slope. You can't put an olive on your table because it'll roll off your table.
I think what was most mesmerizing is just sharing, going to all these historical sites, all these sites that are thousands and thousands of years old, and to be with someone who just feels the same way about it. We're standing in the Colosseum and he's just freaking out. just being and seeing David and seeing Venus de Milo and going on the Eiffel Tower together, just all these things that I've always dreamed about, and sharing it with John was awesome.
I dreamed about the gargoyles at Notre Dame.
Yeah, you goofball.
That was an epiphany. That was incredible.
This whole trip was like we couldn't believe we were walking amongst so much history.
Vatican is something every person should see, whether you're religious or not. The architecture and the art.
You walked in there and literally it was like, oh. It was one of those.
There was somebody going, oh, because there was a service going on when we were in there.
But literally,
sunbeam coming in through this window that Michelangelo had designed to,
catch the light just
do
so.
Exactly what it was doing the day we were in St. Peter's.
Rewarding to go to everything and then come back and know that you've done all this stuff and you've seen all these places and people make references and you know what they're talking about. The Eiffel Tower. Name some sort of significant monument or attraction in Europe, and we went to it.
Probably saw it. And now we're back in Vancouver, and you know what I thought when we got back? Beautiful place, but there's not a lot to see here.
Actually, I'm gonna beg to differ. It's a complete different city. Those places are built on history. This place is built on aesthetic beauty in terms of nature.
Yeah.
So it attracts a different type of tourist. It attracts the person who wants to go hiking. It attracts the person who wants to ski, snowboard.
The person who's never seen a rainforest.
Exactly, those kind of things.
You don't see forests like we have here in Europe.
Yeah.
At least not in the part of Europe we were in.
Yeah, because my aunts and uncles came from Greece, and several of them want to come back. So there's something to be said about the city. The city's stunning, but it's just different. It's different. That's built on history. This is built on beauty of, nature sort of thing, of the natural side.
Things definitely move a lot faster here. It's not a misnomer. That's not a stereotype that's inaccurate. You walk outside, everybody here is in a hurry, not just the people driving. It's not like
Europe is just more laid back.
Yeah. I hope we get to go back someday.
We'll manage it.
We will. But first we're going to Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
That's the next stop. It's not only about the money doing something like this. It's, in the world we live in, at least the world that I live in, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to take off for a month and do that again, especially.
Yeah.
Especially if we've got a couple kids.